previous lecture was taking a bit more time, and then we had some troubles with the computer. But anyway, it's very nice to see you all here. Do you know what are we going to talk today? Do you all understand English? Good, good. If you have something you don't understand, you can ask someone like near you to translate. And also, all the time when we're speaking here, I want to have this as like an interactive lesson. So it's not only that I talk here something and you be quiet, just like in Finland we never talk anything, but I need you to interact with me, and if you have any questions or anything, just raise your hand, okay? And then just speak it out loud. You can speak in your own language if you don't know English, and then I will just pick someone to translate, okay? So, we're going to talk about men in cosplay, which means that we're going to talk about boys and cosplay. And this is going to be kind of beginner stuff. We also have some more advanced stuff, but this is mostly based on just talking about some famous cosplayers and what are the stereotypes of manly cosplay. And also going on to some basic sewing tips and basic makeup for boys. Like, when I was a boy, I'm still a boy. When I was a kid and I started cosplay, I was like, why do I have to use makeup? And I was like, I don't want to use makeup, like it's not good. But then gradually, after years and years, I started trying out the makeup a bit, and then I realized that it's really good for the costume and to make your costume and cosplay look even better. So we're going to talk about how to buy costumes without causing too much trouble or being embarrassed or ashamed when you go to the shop, for example. So, let's start. Wow, this is pretty cool. Wow. Yeah, I'm Elffi. I use this nickname Elffi because it's easy, and every language and every country I've been, they always pronounce it Elffi. It's just Elffi, always. So it's really easy for everyone to say, because my real name is Janne Jerusalem. Repeat after me, Janne Jerusalem. Yeah, exactly. So that's why Elffi.
Elffi is better.
Yeah, much better. So I've been cosplaying since 2006, so I will be having my 10th cosplay anniversary next year. It's pretty cool. I think I've made around 40 costumes now. And here comes the first fact about male cosplayers, at least among my friends. I know a few thousand male cosplayers around the world. We tend to do less costumes per year than girls. Like compared to Kalsara, my girlfriend, she's always making like maid dress and this cool uniform and blah blah blah, and then she makes some bigger costumes, and then she makes these small costumes, and she's making like 7, 8, 10 costumes a year, and I'm always like maybe 2, maybe 3 costumes. And some people make it even less. They can work on something like really big mecha costumes, and boys work on the same costume for 2 years. And I've been a guest and judge and a panelist like this in around 20 countries now, in 4 continents and like 50 conventions. I think this is a bit outdated, sorry. And I was in the World Cosplay Summit Team Finland in 2011, and the organizer and translator in Japan in World Cosplay Summit in 2012 and 2013, because I studied some Japanese. So, yeah. Yeah, it says there, Japanology is the professional term for that, like studying Japanese in university as a main subject. And now I'm studying international business in Jyväskylä, Finland, and I'm going to graduate. I'm supposed to graduate after this summer. But the cosplay always comes to the business, and then like, maybe half a year more. Maybe half a year more. Any questions? No? Okay. Well, this is my Czech costume. And here comes other fact about the male cosplayers, because the games and the anime and manga and movies, most of the heroes, the manly heroes, the male heroes, they have a really good body. They have abs and they have the muscle. Even if they're skinny, they still have all the muscles visible. And 3 years ago, I decided that I want to make my jet costume again. I was around 65 kilos when I made it the first time, and then I started going to the gym to train to get the body. And I gained like 10, 11 kilos, I was 83 or something, and then I cosplayed it again. And yeah, it's one of the facts that many boys, they like to go to the gym if they want to cosplay shirtless. But now I just drank beer and ate a lot of meat during last winter, so that's why I have a shirt on now. Then we have some statistics. My friend from Finland is making a thesis about cosplay in university, and most of the cosplayers in Finland, well, this is basically everything in Europe. The cosplayers are usually 19 to 22 years old. 37.5 of the... He made like a questionnaire, and 1,100 Finnish cosplayers answered that, and 37.5 of them were 19 to 22 years old. So I'm pretty old. And now comes a question for you. Someone has to answer. Look at this. This is a chart. It's a pie chart. Do you have any idea what this means? It's in Finnish.
Woman and men.
Men and woman. And now comes the second question. Which one is the man? Red one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. In Finland, 12 point something of the 1,100 cosplayers who answered the questionnaire are male. So like I said, if you were in the cosplay, then in EC championships back then, the semi-finals, just a few minutes ago, I said that male cosplayers are the unicorns of cosplay, because we are so rare. I think this is kinda accurate for all Europe, except Italy and Spain. They tend to have a bit more male cosplayers. I don't know why, but they have. And here comes an Italian cosplayer. Do you know who this guy is? No? Dante. Yeah. It's Leon Ciro. Actually, it's Leon Ciro from Italy, and he's a good friend of mine. And he's a good example of Italian male cosplayer. Italian male cosplayers are always models. Many of them are underwear models. Like this guy is a model for Calvin Klein underwears. Yep. Now, so what are we? We're big props and armors, of course. Like you saw on the stage, the male cosplayers, they had a big short, or they had a really big something like a mecha costume. And we just like all the armors and weapons and the manly stuff. Most of us. Here's my Rusty Stampede costume from Trigun. And I made this 2010, I think. So 5 years ago, oh my god. That weapon, the angel arm, is 4.5 meters long. I tried to compensate something. And I made it in 2 days. And I was a bit drunk.
You're from Finland, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah. Yes, exactly, yeah. Actually, my friend just said that, oh yeah, Elffi, oh, you mean the guy who has these tutorials in the internet, and in every photo of the tutorials he got a beer bottle somewhere in the corner. I used the front light of a car in the middle. Actually, this is taken with a flashlight, so you cannot see how bright the lamp is in there. But because I used the headlight of the car, it's really bright, 12-volt battery inside the end of the hand. And I use it only for 10 seconds, because the headlight, it gets so hot that in 10 seconds it starts to burn the whole top. And I was like, sweet, this is pretty awesome, look, it's burning. And here we have an armor which looks pretty smooth and nice. It looks like a figurine actually. And now comes a question. How is this armor made? What is the technique? Photoshop, no. Maybe a bit of Photoshop also, but it looks like this in real life also.
Plastic molding? Plastic molding?
No.
Magic.
Magic. The cosplay magic. No, this is something more expensive. Especially in USA, some people who got a lot of money do this. It's 3D printing. The guy used the program and bought a really huge $100,000 3D printer and printed out the whole costume and then just sanded and painted it. Which is like, is that cheating? Isn't it? Yeah. So soon in the future, everyone can just download a costume and then print it out. You can see here the name of the guy if you want to check it out, more of the stuff he has made. Any questions?
Does somebody use iron or real materials for the costumes?
Yes, they do. Especially, you know, the people who have been LARPing.
Yes.
The LARP people, they have this passion to make everything out of steel. But at least in Finland and most of the European countries, it's illegal to have any weapons or anything like made out of steel. And they're pretty heavy also.
So you cannot use iron costume for competition?
You can use it if it's a plate armor, but if you have a sword and stuff, then it's mostly you cannot take it there because the police will come and take you to jail.
It's okay, they can try.
So what is makeup? No idea. How to apply makeup? No idea. But then I started doing my own testing of makeup, and I made up this style called Jack Sparrow style of how to do makeup, and I will explain it to you. And then I also have mascara. It's my favorite makeup thing, mascara. And here I would like to say that if you want to start with something, you can start with contact lenses if you're too afraid to use makeup. Because the contact lenses already give you a lot of contrast to your face. And cutting the wigs, it's also a good thing to learn. And you can find a lot of tutorials on the internet. And one thing, I don't know if it's so for you, because I think the people in Czech, do you have mostly like darker hair and darker skin than compared to the Scandinavian one, because we are like blonde? 50-50, yeah. So it's a bit more. But especially in my country and in the Nordic countries, if you have a really white skin, then you know you get the blushing and like red irritation in your skin. And if you don't want to use makeup, you can start with self-tanning lotion, which I tend to use like 1 layer or 2 layers. It's like €10. You just put it in your face and arms, all the visible parts, which are visible when you have the costume on. You use it the previous night and let it be overnight. And then in the morning, you take a shower and wash it out. And then you have a nice, a bit tanned skin. And already you don't have so much irritation. Your skin looks much more smoother. And already without makeup, you look a lot better in pictures and in the convention. This is me, actually. Oh, really? Wow. My beard is blonde, and now it's black. What did I do? Mascara. Mascara. It's so damn good. I learned the trick like 5 years ago. I was thinking like, I have a blonde beard and I want to make it black. Should I just paint it? I tried out some like water-based face body makeup thing, but it's really messy and it's not staying there. It touches your skin and it doesn't look so good. And then I was like, hey, I took a black mascara out of my mom's makeup storage, and I tried it out. And as you have seen the advertisement of mascara, it makes your beard longer and thicker. So even if you have some places, like we all do, that beard is not growing everywhere, like this part is bad and this part is not so good, and here is a longer beard, and this is a bit thinner. You use the mascara, it evens out all the places where it's not growing so nicely. And it makes your beard look so beautiful. And also, it's waterproof, so if you cry, it's okay to cry. Then we go to the Jack Sparrow style makeup thingy. It's like rub and go eyes. So what I do, let's start with the beginning. You need foundation and powder, two things. And foundation is the stuff you use first with the sponge and do it like just everywhere until it looks quite even. And then you use the powder and you use a brush and you like like this morning I had to do the same thing all over my head everywhere. So like and it's like, oh, ready. It's pretty easy. And the thing with this is that you need the same color as your skin. So the trick is you ask your mom, or you ask your girlfriend, or you ask your girlfriend to come with you to the shop where you have the makeup. And she will try it on you, somewhere behind the corner a bit. And it looks like she's buying the makeup for herself, and you're just like hanging around. But because I'm used to this stuff already, so I went to a shop one day, and you know I have like big sunglasses and a black leather jacket and jeans. It's just like makeup section. And then be like, okay, no one sees, that's the brand I had last time. Oh, yeah. Take that one, and then mascara. And then some of the, like the eye pencil things, you know, one of those. And then, okay. And then you see, there's the cashier, and it's an old lady. And you go there like, okay, this. And she's like, and then she's like, shit, don't say anything. And the lady is like, oh boy, you're gonna look so pretty. And I was like, wow, thank you. I almost made it out of the shop, like without being ashamed. And then I didn't get sleep for like 2 nights because I was just singing the same thing again and again. So, yeah, let's continue with this. So what I do with my eyes is that I have the black pencil thing, I have brown also. I put both of them. But you know, you have to draw the line, like maybe you have seen some of the tutorials. The girls are drawing the line over and under your eye, and it's really straight and blah blah blah. And it's like, I take the pencil and it's like, and it just looks like that, you know, keeps drawing on my eyes, something like, and it looks horrible. So I draw something around my eyes like this, on both sides, and then I take, and it's the same thing, and like when you wake up, you're like, you rub your eyes, and then you look at the mirror, oh, pretty good, and then you that's how I do it. It works always. And then of course I have the same pencil, I use it for my eyebrows. And you draw the line a few times, and it looks pretty bad. And so you take a toothbrush and do it a few times, like stroke, 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 and then it's like this. And I have the contact lenses, which I used today for 17 minutes. I took the car to the convention. I walked inside the convention, I sat down because I was feeling hot, and then my eyes started itching and I took the contact lenses out because they always hurt. But if you have the force with you, then you can use them longer. And the trick is that you have to try them out already a few days before, like for a couple of hours, and then a bit more, and then in the convention it doesn't hurt so much if you are not using contact lenses in real life. And also, the more the color, like these ones are really thick ones with the yellow color, hiding all my true natural eye color. The more the color, the more they hurt. And then you can see the mascara, the Wonder Beard. It looks pretty okay. So, any questions about the makeup? Yeah, there is my friend.
All right, I'm just wondering, well, you should probably, explain how you get the arrow on your head so straight.
Ah, okay, that's a good question.
Like how you get it so even.
Yeah, actually, I made it by myself.
Yeah.
Like it's all in the back. Yeah, there's a trick for it. I have tape. I take tape. I take it from here, over here, and then one on the other side, like this. And then I have the water-based makeup. I take a sponge with a bit of water, a bit of the blue makeup, and then just between the tapes you do like tip, 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 tip. Let it dry, and again tip, 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 tip. And this part also tape here, tape here, tape here, and then tip, 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 tip. And it works. Then you take the tape off, and it's perfect. You don't have to try to draw the line, because it's just the tape is making it for you, and it's always really straight and really like nice. Anything else?
Why don't you try self-checkout with your makeup? Why don't you try self-checkout with your makeup?
What do you mean?
There's no...
What do you mean in the shop?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have that one. We don't have it in Finland. You always have to be there by yourself. That's why take your mom. All right. Here's the guy I really appreciate. Yeah, he's really, really good with makeup. He always looks so cool. I don't know what he's doing, but looks so cool. He's called Anthony Nisiano. You can find him in Facebook. He got like 100,000 something likes.
They call it the Australian Jim Carrey.
Australian Jim Carrey.
Because his face is like so rubber.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, then comes the art of it. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like when I made my first costume, I bought it from China. Well, the second costume, I tried to sew something. I was like, yeah, I can do this. It's just a thing. You just put something and then press something. And make it like where you want to have something like a scene. But yeah, I didn't know how to put on the sewing machine, so I had to ask my mom. But it's pretty easy. It's just ask your mom a couple of times and then you learn the basics. And one basic thing which is really good is that please use patterns when making a costume. Like when you start with something simple in the beginning, when you start sewing for the first time, you have your old clothes. I bet everyone got plenty of old clothes you're not using, but they fit nicely, but they are really like worn out. Take a cloth which looks the same as in the costume. Rip apart the seams, just cut them from the seams, and open every part. And you have a perfect pattern. Use some paper, draw the lines, and then sew it on again from the fabric you want. And there, you have it. And then just a little bit of modifications and you have a costume. And tutorials. Internet is full of sewing tutorials. I never understand anything of them, but you can use them if you have the brain. So this is me every night. There's one thing missing, is the bottle of beer in the right corner. Questions? Oh, what came on? Okay, let's build some problem arms. This is the costume I'm going to use tomorrow. So here you can see how I made it, and tomorrow you can come and touch me. So we are going to build a breastplate with kind of round shapes. And round shapes are the most difficult ones when you're making something like armor or rock. The shapes with edge, they are easy to make even from a hard material. But when you have something round, like bubble kind of shapes, it's really hard. You have to know what kind of materials you can use. Like, let's say soft foam. You cannot bend it on a round shape if you don't make seams. And when you want to make it seamless, you need something flexible. So I used Warbler for this one. And there are some other materials also, but Warbler is the most easiest one. It's a bit expensive. For the breastplate, you have to spend like 40 euros maybe. How much is that? 2,500, I don't know, in euro money. First I bought this. You don't need this actually. It's the mannequin. This is 160 euros from UK, and there's 9 of these rolls, which you can adjust if you get fatter or if you lose weight. So you can put all your waist and your chest and shoulders to the right calculations, and then it fits you perfectly whatever you make. It's pretty handy, but if you don't have the money, you can always go to my Facebook page and see when I made the duct tape man. I had my friend, I took an old t-shirt and then I had 2 rolls of duct tape, and my friend rolled the duct tape all over me, everywhere, and then got it open from the back. And then you take it off, you put the duct tape on the seam again to make it even, and then you fill it with something like old pillows, old teddy bears, anything. One thing is what you can use, if you don't want to have it soft, you can use urethane foam. It's like a couple of euros for 1 bottle, and then it gets really hard. And then you have a mannequin, and it's cheap, maybe 5-10 euros total. So we start with baking some bread. What is this? It's not Warbler. It's not bread. Tits. Yes, it's boobs, but it's made of clay. You know what is clay? What is it in your language? Lina. We use Lina. Because the armor I'm using, he got this really big bags of boobs. So I need to make the shapes. So I make the basic shape out of clay. I put them in the oven to make them hard. Then I sand them with sandpaper to make them smooth. And I use some paper over my mannequin, and then it says boob, boob. And then I just put them there with some tape under them so they stay in the position. And now we have artificially hot body. And now we need 2 sheets of Warbler, like together, to make it a bit harder. And we put the big sheet over this whole thing and start with the heating gun. Heat it all over. It gets soft. Then you use your fingers, touch the boobs, and make it like really nice. And it starts to take the shape. And when we have the shape, we just let it get cold again. It gets hard. Hello. Hello. And then we cut off the shapes, and it comes really nicely off from the clay. So you just take it off. Oh yeah, this part, yeah. It's the cross protector. Because the anime mangaka wanted to make that kind of thing for him. It's made of Warbler, but there's some soft foam inside to get a bit of the 3D effect. And I used some steel wire and rivets to make it flexible and like it's moving naturally. So here we have the shape after you have put the Warbler over the clay. Well, Lina. I made some more shapes on the edges, and then I used some sanding paper to get it like really even. Many people don't know that you can use sanding paper for Worbla. They always use the wood glue and stuff, but I never use any of that. I just use sandpaper, and it gets really smooth with that. Then we cut off all the edges, and it looks like this. Then we are trying it out, and because it was made for my body, it fits kind of nicely. Questions? A bit uncomfortable because it's really hard. So you cannot really like stretch your body at all. It's like this. The same as if it would be made out of steel.
Is it heavy?
It may be 500 grams, I would say. It's really light, really, really light. And it's really, really hot. And then we paint it all and it's ready. Great. Okay, so the painting. The painting is made, then what I usually do, I use black spray paint, and I paint it all black, all the parts. And then I use acrylic paints, golden one, and I use like 10 layers using the dry brushing technique, which is that you take the paint, you swipe it off in toilet paper, and then you have a really dry paint in your brush, and then you just start brushing 20,000 times, or something like that. And it gets the golden shapes on the best places, and it leaves all the edges and the hidden parts. I don't know what it's called in English. The lower parts stay a bit darker. And it looks like this. Any questions? You can Google dry brushing. The other way to do this is to use airbrush, but I don't know how to use an airbrush. I have airbrush. I bought it 1 year ago, and it has been in my kitchen closet for 1 year. I never opened the package. Then we make some swords. And this is really cheap technique. It's made out of cardboard to make it really light, because the CZECH sword is 1.6 meters long, and I want to wave it with one hand, so I would look like really strong person. So it's like 1.5 kilos. We use cardboard. This is the really thick cardboard. I don't know what it's called in your language, but you can buy this like industrial cardboard. You can buy it if you Google, you can buy a big batch. It's like 1 meter x 1.5 meter, and you get like 10 of them for a couple of euros. And I use a broomstick inside, and then I hot glue the shapes together. Actually, you can see my feet in every bottle from now on. Look. And what I do to make it like really smooth and not cardboard looking, I use fake leather. So I cut the fake leather, and I glue it all with wood glue. I mix some water and wood glue together and put it all over everywhere in the sword. And then I put the leather on it. It comes really, really smooth. And then you let it dry overnight. And it looks like this after you cut off the edges. And it's already like the basic shape of a sword. And the color is also already black like it should be. So we don't need much of paint. Then we drill the holes because the sword got holes. And we put something in there. And this is actually Wonderflex. It was the material the thermoplastic before Worbla, to make some of these things, metal things. And then we paint on the red parts with freehand painting with red acrylic paint, and use a bit of silver spray paint on the tip, and that's it. Really light, really cheap, really easy. It's like 1 day, and 90% of the time is because you have to wait for the wood glue to dry. Questions? You're really quiet, you're always laughing all the time. You know, every country is different. Like, when you go to Norway, no one says anything. No one asks anything, but also laughing is forbidden. So no one, it's absolutely quiet all the time. Okay, and then one thing I hate the most are wigs, because wigs are always from China, and they are always made for really tiny heads, mostly for girls. The diameter of the basic wig is actually 56 centimeters, and my head is like 62. So always when I use a wig, it's really hurting my head. And also, if you use the wig head bought from the shop, it's 56 centimeters. And when you got the wig on a wig head bought from a shop, and you have a big head like I do, it doesn't look the same when you put it on your head. So what I want to do is to make my own wig head. It's really cheap. Now I need some translation maybe. What is this?
Beer.
It's a plastic foil thing. I used my friend here. He was enjoying. The straws in his mouth are pretty important because you cannot breathe otherwise. And what we take now, we go to pharmacy and we buy the plaster of Paris. And what is that called in your language? Plaster of Paris. It's the stuff you use when you break your bone and then good. We use that. We take like maybe 15 centimeters long pieces, cut them out, and dip them a bit in a bowl of water. And then we put 2 layers everywhere. It gets like maybe 1 millimeter thick. Let it dry for like 10 minutes and it gets really hard. And then your friend has to cut your head open, open from the back. If you have hair, it might be a bit difficult, but you can do it. Then you cut it open and then you can take it off. And then you just fix the hole, and then you have a perfect shape of your head. You can also fill this with something and maybe make a base for it, and then you can use wood glue to make it not getting the white all over your body and hair. And you can even draw your eyes and everything, whatever you want. And it's really light, so you can take to a convention or anything. You are staying in a hotel and last night cutting your wig with this, really easy. Any questions? Really? Okay, then we have some posing and facial expressions. There's a lot of things. I just added everything what came to my mind. You don't have to use all of these, but these are some tricks which I know. It's pretty important that you check your character's movement and the standing and the facial expressions. So when someone takes a photo of you, you're not just like. So you know maybe 3 to 5 poses, and you just change them whenever someone is taking a photo of you. And it's good to practice in front of a mirror. And if you're having a photo shoot or something, what we usually do, we have the cameraman, and then we have the cosplayer, and we have one extra person, the art director. It sounds so cool, art director. And he or she needs to study your character and the poses and everything, so he or she knows how you should look like, how your costume should look like, how your face should look like, and how the pose should look like. The photographer might not be so familiar with your character, so he or she doesn't know how to fix your poses and stuff. And you think that you have taken so many good photos, and you go home and get the photos, and you're like, oh shit, in every photo I have made this and this mistake. But when you have a friend, an art director with you, your photos will be much better. And then one, twist and means to slim. This is one thing like the mascara thing and then Jack Sparrow style. And what I invented is that if you stand straight to a camera, well, you look like this. But when the cameraman is there, you take one leg and put it like this. So you are like 45 degrees. And then you twist your body a bit like this. here, and you look much slimmer already. It's a bit of like cheating, and you look like much better in all the photos. It's a good thing. I use it a lot when I feel fat. And one thing you can do is everyone is always looking straight to the lens. But if you look 10 or 20 centimeters up the lens, you see a much more of the white of your eyes, and your eyes look much bigger, and it looks better in the photos. And of course, a bit of diet and eating habits before a convention, especially if you're a man. If you're a man and you want to look good without a shirt, you should look a bit what you're eating. So no drinking and pizza. And one thing I always like to repeat is iron your costume. It looks so much better when you have iron your costume. Like my costume right now is full cotton. And if I wouldn't iron it at all, it looks absolutely terrible. Lighting. That's a pain in the ass. In all kind of these kind of conference places, it's white, cold light. It's coming up. So it makes your face look like a ghost. And also, because the light is coming from up, it makes your eyes really shadowy from here. You look really tired always. So if possible, go near a window, and the light is coming from the window, so it's not coming up, it's coming straight to you. And then the photographer is standing by the window, and you look at the window, and the good light is coming, and you take much better photos, even with phone or anything like not so good camera. And hairy nostrils, this is pretty funny. Like, I have a lot of hair in my nose. Actually, I have a lot of hair everywhere. Like, below my ears. And once I was putting on my costume, and I was like, oh, it tickles my nose like hell. And it's like, oh, there's something there. It's a really, really long, black, like maybe 15 centimeters long hair. And then I was like, it came out. I was almost like, should I save this because this is so cool? But then I lost it. And then next is also a trick, a really nice trick. I made this up also. It's called swallow and smile. This one is really, really good. Yeah. When someone is taking a photo of you, you usually be like this, but try swallowing and put your finger, index finger here. And when you swallow, in the middle of swallowing, your chin here goes up, maybe 1 centimeter, depends on the people. And when you learn the trick, you can practice in front of a mirror. When you learn the trick that you can stop it between the swallowing, this part, if you have the problem that this part looks a bit like sloppy, it stays up and it looks really, really good in photos. You can use this especially when you're having a photo shoot of a character somewhere. Yeah, swallow and smile. Questions? Then we have one cosplayer, from Mexico, Elffi. He's pretty good in always into posing and stuff. And then we have Leon Chiro again, who is using really, really nice Italian photographers and really nice locations. And he's always making this like in action kind of photo shoots. Questions? I have one other thing, if you don't have any questions. Oh, Facebook, yeah. Like this is when I was 20 something years old, and this is when I turned 37. So you can see the difference. Actually, the light is here not so good, so you cannot see it all, but what I want to tell here is that how to make yourself look older with just the makeup and a bit of makeup, a bit of facial expression, a bit of lighting. Here's my Yasuo makeup test. You can see I'm next to a window, so it's kind of bright light. I didn't use much of anything in my eyes. and I'm using the swallow and smile thing. Actually, I'm not smiling, but I'm using that one to make my face look pretty slim. I'm having my eyes quite open. And on the right picture, this is actually taken like only a few weeks apart. I used a lot of self-tanning lotion. The self-tanning lotion also makes your skin look older because you look more tanned. Then I practiced to look a bit older with keeping my eyes not, my teeth not closed, but a bit open. And looking like this. That is how old people always look. I don't have my eyes completely open. I used a bit of brown makeup on my wrinkles in my forehead here, and these wrinkles. Also, on the both sides, you can see these parts, always old people have the wrinkles here. You use a bit of darkening there. And then, what I do with my, you can see my neck. You can see that I have all the joints and veins visible. What I do is that you just extend them like this. And when you learn to make it a bit, you learn to make your neck look really old. And I used a light coming from the right side, and then the room is otherwise pretty dark, so it already adds a lot of contrast and makes you look a little older. It's pretty easy tricks, and when you learn to use them, they can be handy in photo shoots or anything where you want to use them. Yes. I don't know what else to tell you if you don't have any questions. Oh.
I know it's rude to ask, but how old are you?
What do you think?
25?
Thank you.
Obviously you're not 35 and so on.
No, I'm not. How old am I? I'll be 28 this year. I'm born 87. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Well, actually, there's this thing in Finland that if you look younger than 30 years old, they will always ask you ID for anything you buy, alcohol or cigarettes. 30 years old. And it's pretty rude, because they never ask me anything, and I always like, do you want to see my ID? Do I look older than 30? No, I don't. And they're like, no, I don't want to see it. It's okay, take your wine. I'm 27. I'm 27. You have to see my ID. It's the law. I look younger. They never ask me the ID. Yeah. Let's go with the questions.
Okay, so what's your favorite cosplay?
I don't have any favorite cosplay. I have like a, love-hate relationship with all of my costumes. Yeah.
I have a question about some quick tips about reducing the heat inside the armor cosplay.
Reducing the heat. Actually, when I was in Japan, in the World Cosplay Summit, there's this huge parade in the main street of Nagoya. And because in July, August, and Nagoya is the hottest city in Japan, it's like 47 degrees in shadow, and the humidity is like 95%. And in sunlight, it's like 70 degrees. I had my checks armor, and I was like standing and smiling during the parade, and I can feel the armor, the spikes are like, And then this Japanese girl, like the organizer girl, came like, and she had this spray. It's the cold spray. They sell it in Japan. You can buy it from eBay. It's spray. It's like minus 40 degrees spray bottle. And you can use it inside your armor. You just have it in your pocket and then use it when you feel like really, really hot. It's pretty awesome. And other thing what some people have, if you have a mecha or something, they are building the electronics and having the fans inside the armor and helmets. And of course that helps a lot.
Another thing that you can use for armors is like heat gear compression shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Compression
shirt. Okay.
So basically what it does is that it keeps the sweat inside, like on your skin. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't go onto the armor or your, say if you have a furry costume like I do. It doesn't go onto the furry.
Okay. But does it make you feel cooler?
Well, it actually helps. I mean, prevents from me to faint.
Okay, okay. There you see. That's also a good trick. Okay, anything else?
What was the hardest cosplay you made?
I think it might have been the Basti Stampede, the 4.5 meters.
Because of the weapon?
Yeah, the weapon was pretty hard, and I made the whole costume in 1 week. It was actually the costume for the World Cosplay Summit, the preliminaries, and we were like, oh, we still got time, no worries, no worries. And then it's like, shit, 1 week left. Then I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, only coffee and beer. For 7 days.
Beer is like liquid bread.
Yeah, I lost 7 kilos. Then after we had the competition on stage, and the scores were given like at evening, so I had like 6 hours of free time before getting the prizes, and I didn't know anything. So I just went to the backstage and I was just sleeping. And then the stage show started, and then I woke up when I had to go to stage. Anything else?
Do you have any world cosplayer you admire?
What cosplayer? Of course, because I've met like a few 100,000 cosplayers in my life, I know many good ones. But there's this thing that I have never had any idols. Like when I was a kid, I also didn't have any favorite idols or singers or actors or anything. So it's really hard for me to have any idol or stuff like that. But of course I admire a lot of people, but I cannot put anyone like up to the top, like above everyone else. Okay, let's take a few questions and then we can start with you. Yeah, there.
So how does it feel to judge competitions in other countries and things like that?
In other countries? Actually, the thing is that you never know what's coming. Because the rules and everything is so different. And sometimes you're like, what? Really? Like, we were in Chile last December, and we were the judges for the championships of Latin American cosplay contest. And there were like all the countries from Latin America. And I was like expecting that, yeah, they're going to have the skit on the stage and that's it. And then we just judged the costumes. Okay, we did the costume judging, and then I went to the stage to see the skit. And the first one started. They were like, it was a pair cosplay, so there were 2 people on stage. Something goes on. Someone is walking there. Then they are dancing. Then someone dies. Then he wakes up again. They're dancing again. Then nothing happens. I'm like, when is this going to end? Every skit in this competition was 10 to 15 minutes. I was like, wow. And of course it was in Spanish. So there's a lot of differences. Yeah. But it's always fun in the end. It's always pretty awesome to see all the tricks, and you're always learning something new from other countries. Let's take one more question.
I've got a question. Can you give some tips when you've got a wig which is a different color than your natural hair? How can you make sure that the hair between the wig and your natural hair to look the same or
Yeah. Well, my trick is you shave off your hair. You also don't need a wig cap anymore. And then you can use also this kind of wigs, like this one is a full lace human hair wig on the left side. And you can see my hairline. It looks exactly like real hair. And I just glue it all on. And actually it stays 3 weeks in the head with the glue. You can even take a shower. But of course, there is this like water-based makeups. And I I used to use them like on my sideburns when I have like, let's say, green wig and then green sideburns. So I just use the water-based makeup a bit to make it green. I don't think there's any other choice. The other choice is that you dye your hair. Yes. Okay, time is up. Thank you very much. And if you have any more questions or stuff, or if you just want to have a little chat or something, you can just ask me in the hallway or something. I'll be there for like 10 minutes.